Welcome to my American History Notes, where I discuss conclusions that I've drawn from studying American history, conclusions you might not agree with, but that you should actually know about these events, people, places, and things that I'm discussing, and have your own opinion. Draw your own conclusions from your own study. So I don't expect you to agree with me. I don't even expect you to like what I say. You might even be offended. But the point is, you should know about these things. That's my point. Okay, so I'm going to begin. I'm still talking about my special topics class. I'm on the, I think, a sixth version edition of my African American history. Now we're in World War II now. Those black World War II aviators known as Tuskegee Airmen are a fascinating study. Notable members include Robert W. Williams, a bombardier navigator in the 477th Bombardment Group, who went on to become a federal judge and candidate for district attorney in Philadelphia. Eugene Winslow founded the Afro-Am Publishing in Chicago. Daniel Chappie James Jr. would go on to fly combat missions for the U.S. Air Force in Korea and Vietnam. Four Tuskegee Airmen went on to become generals. During the war, when the fighter pilots of the 332nd Fighter Group painted the tails of their P-47s red, they were nicknamed Red Tails. The myth that they never lost a bomber they were protecting, like all unsubstantiated myths, serves to mark their record, which in fact was very admirable. Absolutist statements like, quote, they've never lost a bomber, damage their credibility, just like all absolutist statements such as we, the Rangers, Green Beret, Marines, etc., never leave a wounded comrade on the field of battle, which is, of course, nonsense. General statements and absolute statements like that don't help us in our study of history unless you have evidence and proof. The U.S. 12th Armored Division was one of only 10 U.S. divisions during World War II that had integrated combat companies. Despite the overarching segregation in the military at that time, more than 1 million African Americans fought for the U.S. Armed Forces on the home front, in Europe, and the Pacific. Military photographer William Scott, excuse me, helped document Nazi war crimes. Army medic Warren Capers was recommended for the Silver Star. Sergeant Leon Bass served in the 183rd Engineer Combat Battalion and witnessed the Nazi atrocities at Buchenwald before going on to become a noteworthy educator in Philadelphia, lecturing frequently on racism and the Holocaust. And I'm going to stop there and continue after World War II. We're going to go to Korea, and then eventually in Vietnam and on up to now, and then we'll take some other types of things like inventors and doctors and things like that that are noteworthy in African American people. So Black people have contributed to our country. They're a part of our country. They're not a fringe, like, fringe side thing. They are part of, you can't learn American history unless you have some understanding of African American history. And the racism is that was denied us in high school and in the past. And I just think that we need to open our minds up to see there's a huge story in America that often goes unreported. So I'm done for today. I hope you'll follow me and hope you enjoy this. Thank you.